Morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Morning, Mark. Morning, Vitali. Welcome to the private streams, Barry. Barry, new member. Welcome aboard. I don't know if you're here, but it says that you've joined. Morning, Reverend. Mumo. CK even. Not KC. Morning, Paul. Lucas. Noob. Sarah, how are we all doing? Indices off to a flyer this morning. Really volatile open. There's a little bit of a gap at the open. There's a lot of volatility came in. I got slipped a little bit on my entry this morning on the DAX, but big volatility this morning. Markets alive. We've got big gaps at the moment on US dollar pairs, which seem to be on their way to gap fills. So potential gap fills in play on US dollar pairs. They're all doing the same thing. The pound US, euro US, US CAD has damn it done its gap fill. So yeah, I mean, you needed to get on these this morning in Asia really to get them, but gaps get filled usually, so we'll see. But yeah, nice little gap fill underway on that one. But yeah, morning FTNet, morning Gregors, Silver, how we doing? Right, so just quickly watch what's going on with these. We're 1R, approaching 2R on the FTSE this morning. DAX is struggling a little bit. We've got gap fills on the indices as well, which is annoying because I've broken long on both, and obviously the logical play is to get the gap fill done, but we'll see. Might be a hedge on those today. So a bit of a weak day today for news, bit of a week this week for news. Wednesday's really the only busy day this week. Morning travel. So just quickly before I start, tomorrow in the members streams, what we're going to be doing is position trading using market structure. So tomorrow we're going to do a session basically on basically position trading without indicators is really what it is. So just using normal market structure, support resistance areas for position trading. So I'm going to do a session on that. We'll do some work in the strategy tester, live trading basically, in the strategy tester tomorrow as well. But someone's asked me to do that as a session, and it makes sense because it's basically what I used to do and how I used to teach in the bootcamp. So it's kind of going a little bit back to basics of what position trading is and how it forms market structure. So we're going to do a whole session on that tomorrow. Somebody's also asked me, in fact, not just one person, a few people have now asked me to put limit order buttons on the position trader EA, and I've resisted because I don't like them. Just because I don't not necessarily like them. I'm just not sure it's the best way to get into trades necessarily. Because if you place a limit order there, for example, saying I want to get in on that, and it doesn't do that and it flies through it, you're literally just placing risk without any confirmation that there's any actual opportunity to trade at that level. So I think I'm going to put the buttons in there as an option for people that want them. So it'd just be basically moving these up and just sticking two more buttons down there. Or well, actually it'd be one more button down there, which would be sell limit, and a buy limit button up there. For people that want to trade support resistance style bounces basically. But I'll cover tomorrow in the session why we're going to do it. Why I'll do it basically, but I'm not sure if I'll use them. It's basically the way I used to trade. So if you look at the bootcamp, the way I used to teach in the bootcamp is we take a trade, we look for the next level to place to get into our next trade. So when I was doing this all manually without the EA, that's how I used to do it. I used to set alerts at areas, and then when we reached those areas, I would monitor for market structure break and get in. So then that's why I built the market reverse alerts EA. However, you need some signal to get in. So it's kind of going back to basics a bit. So it'll be a good session tomorrow anyway. So that's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be doing that one. So this week's news. Morning, Barry. Morning, Barry, new member. Yes, I like the idea of limit buttons. I use them regularly. Yeah. So basically, if we put them in the position trader EA, it means obviously the position trader EA will be able to manage those trades. Obviously, at the moment, if you will use limits, you can't manage them. So I will do it. Right. So the news this week, nothing today. No, it's yesterday. Resale sales came out negative for the New Zealand last, positive on forecast, but negative number for New Zealand last night. Today we've got no news. It's the German IFO. Tomorrow we've got consumer confidence for the US. That's the only real US news tomorrow, which doesn't tend to do an awful lot. Sometimes it does. But we've got FOMC. Has that been moved forward? That's been moved forward for Thanksgiving, isn't it? FOMC is always on a Wednesday. That was on a Wednesday. We looked at, go back and watch Friday's stream. That was on a Wednesday. They've moved it, which is right. But let me just check that on Financial Juice as well. Just to check. Kind of important we know when that is. Yeah. There we go. November the 26th, FOMC. So FOMC is tomorrow now, not Wednesday. So that obviously is going to be a potential big market mover for the US. It's a bank holiday. It's Thanksgiving on Thursday. So that's normally when I do the US session. We'll have Thursday off this week. There we go. So yeah, basically that's tomorrow evening. Be prepared for some movement on the US. We're looking for more guidance as to what they're going to be doing with interest rates. Moving into Wednesday, it's CPI for the Australian dollar, forecast to be a big bounce. So potentially could be a big positive move for the Australian if they get that, basically, which means they're not going to change their interest rates, which will make it probably bounce. But it may well just stay sideways. We'll have to wait and see. New Zealand rates are coming out 4.25. They're dropping quite substantially, so a half-point drop on the New Zealand. That's kind of factored in a little bit if you look at the New Zealand pairs. In fact, it's a bit difficult to tell at the moment because we've had such a strong US move. It's a bit tricky to tell. Probably pound New Zealand's the best gauge, but you can see the market. It's actually not been going particularly far at all, is it? Let's have a look at the other ones. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to tell actually. Aussie New Zealand obviously has been rallying. So what we would expect with this is the market to start selling into the New Zealand for a couple of weeks before the announcement. Doesn't seem to have done a lot of that, but we would expect it to weaken off the back of that number. So assuming we get the 4.25, we should see some weakness coming through in the New Zealand this week. I kind of like to be out of my Aussie New Zealand short before that, ideally. We've then got the obviously the press conference. So this is where the forward guidance will be announced. That's when we're going to find out basically where it's going to be going in the coming months. GDP for the US and unemployment claims on Wednesday. And then we've got PCE as well. So Wednesday is the day this week. And this is also the day before the bank holiday in the US. So obviously the market's going to want to get any business done on Wednesday because it's not going to be doing it on Thursday. So potentially a very big volatile day on Wednesday. We've got CPI preliminaries for Germany. So that's going to give us an indication. Euro probably going to continue to come down. We've got Bullock speaking as well in the morning, and that's it. And then GDP for the CAD on Friday. And Friday will probably be hangover day from that. So I would write off the rest of this week, really. So it's basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's all focused around Wednesday this week. Overnight news, not an awful lot. I was just highlighting that. It's weird, isn't it? This Doge is not Dogecoin, which is weird because the Department of Government Expenditure, I think that stands for, just happens to be Doge. And you know, obviously Elon Musk went on about Dogecoin. It's very bizarre, isn't it, that he's come into government and he happens to run a department that is the Department of Government Efficiency, basically cutting all the costs in the government. But anyway, So I had to Google that just to see what it stood for, because I thought, what's Dogecoin got to do with it? What? Anyway, that's what it is. Putin's firing his hypersonics. He hasn't done an awful lot of it over the weekend, so nothing escalated with Russia, Ukraine, or with the West, which is good. So apart from that, not a lot of over the weekend news. We've obviously got that gap which has formed for the US, which seems to be filling anyway this morning. But otherwise, over the weekend, not an awful lot's happened. So Israel and Lebanon near a ceasefire agreement, and then the news before that was IDF reports sirens and projectiles from Lebanon hit Israel. So that happened at 4:40 yesterday, and then at midnight they decided we might get close to a ceasefire. So nothing's really changed there. It's all just talk. Nearing a truce. So yeah, it does look like there might be some de-escalation there, which is good. That's it. So there's your overnight news, and the Swiss non-farm payrolls came out. Right, so we've stalled out on the indices at the open. So we'll see if we get a pullback continuation this morning. I don't like these gaps. Hate gaps. Pre-market, FTSE got close, so that might well be done. That isn't. We are miles away from the gap. We're not miles away, but small gaps can get left in place. But small gaps, in my experience, usually are more likely to fill, because obviously it doesn't take a lot to get them done. You might as well get this unfinished business. Basically, banks and institutions will be caught offside here. So they'll be sitting there going, okay, guys, we're in drawdown. We need to just get that opposite side of the order filled. So it's really easy to get that done, which unfortunately for me means hedges this morning, and difficult to get out of hedges as well, because I can't get out on the gap fill just in case it comes down. So I would need to be targeting down here somewhere, but we'll see where they go. Right, come back to those in a bit. In fact, I might just... No, I'll leave it there. Right. So, this morning, I banked Euro Swiss. So, EA got me out of this overnight. So, that was target hit. Basically, I'm targeting 1 ADR distance at the moment. So, that is 1 ADR for the two positions. So, that one there, first entry, second entry, and then out overnight. So that's banked just under 0.5%, which is nice. Everything else is kind of under control at the moment. The only thing that's getting in a little bit of drawdown is the pound CAD. Obviously, on the back of this Canadian strength that we've got, and obviously the US helping that along the way. So hopefully once we get the gap fill done today, we've got the reversal alert in play. So hopefully the gap fill will be the W pattern reversal, and then we'll be pushing up into this area of accumulation, which is about 150 ADR to the upside. So we'll see if we can get up there. Apart from that, everything else just pottering along. Aussie New Zealand, as I said, like to get out of that one ideally before Wednesday, when we have the rates coming out. So I need to be out of that by tomorrow evening, really. So fingers crossed FOMC shakes the market up. We either get some bullish New Zealand or bearish Aussie movement. But I want to kind of be out of that, really, if I can, because the New Zealand dollar is more likely to weaken than strengthen. But we'll see. Morning, Berryman. Morning, Firechrist. Grand Rising All. No idea what that means. Morning, government. Morning, Vitali. I've already said morning, Vitali. Government efficiency. Yeah. Yeah. So the Department of Government Efficiency. Yes. I have to say, though, if you're going to put someone in charge of it, Elon Musk is probably not a bad candidate, is he? Trump, businessman running the country. Musk, businessman, entrepreneur, running the efficiency of the country. To be fair, as a team goes for making America great again, they're probably not a bad pick, are they, those two? But anyway, we'll see. Always worries me when you've got people with that much power in that much power as well, because basically, have you seen as well? He's got a New York judge, I think it is, to sign off to go into Congress to get his convictions quashed, basically. So basically, he now gets in charge of the country, and he can wipe away all of the crap. So all the convictions, nah, not interested, not having them anymore. He can make laws, basically, because he controls Senate now to basically do anything he likes. It's a bit of a worrying situation, but anyway. What's going to happen when Musk and Trump fall out? Hopefully they won't. I don't know. Maybe Musk will just run for presidency and everyone will vote for Musk. I have no idea. I don't care. I don't live there. ADRs today, we've only got... Oh, we've got two, actually. I thought there was only one. Aussie New Zealand is an ADR this morning to the upside. That's the downside hit, not an upside hit, isn't it? 290. Yeah, it's a downside hit. So ADR reversal off of the lows, which is playing out now. So we hit ADR low. Reversal alert was there. So it's underway. And pound odd also. That's a nice reversal. I'm not sure you would have got a reversal alert very clean on that. Oh, you did. Look at that for an M pattern. Textbook. There's your entry. Also retest. Market structure 101. So continuation short, potentially. I'm long, so I'd hopefully that reversal alert doesn't work if you've taken it, and I hope you go into drawdown because I want it to go long. Anyway. So nice reversal off of ADR. That's also a propulsion gap, although that's kind of an A shape rather than a propulsion move because it's not breaking an accumulation, but looks good. Right, so those are your ADRs today. There's only two. Obviously, there's nothing hit its weekly ranges yet because it's Monday. The monthlies, very difficult to really have any faith in the monthly extensions at the moment because we've had so much movement off of that US and the Canadian dollar, really. Euro CAD is the main. I mean, we're 225% of the normal monthly range on the Euro CAD and the Euro US dollar as well. So we've had a weak Euro, and obviously we've had that massive powering up on the CAD and the US. So this is 225% of its normal monthly range. Absolute. You know, as far as extensions go, it's huge. So very high probability of a pullback on this. We're going to need some negative news to come in on that US really to get this kick started. So this gap fill that we've had today, obviously we've had a big down gap on the US overnight. So if that gap fill fills and then it comes and makes a new high on the day, that potentially this gap is the start of the US reversal. So if you look at something like Euro US, which is the Dixie upside down, you can see that gap there, which is US weakness. So that would be a beautiful play. Along at the gap fill today, bit difficult to put a stop with it because it's such a long way away. But along at the gap fill, with some kind of stop, you could be looking at a multi-day move, especially if FOMC tomorrow evening, if we get bad consumer confidence numbers, which is actually forecast to be good, so that would really drop the US if they come out lower than 112. If we get FOMC coming out saying we need to get those that interest rate down faster for any reason, that US is going to come down very, very quick. And if you look at things like the US dollar CAD, where we've had that massive extension, yeah, there's potential for you know, a decent pullback on this entire leg. So a lot of people, I think, are probably looking at it in the same way as I am, which is we didn't get a pullback, and we are now playing this leg here like that. I'm long on it at the moment, but you know, there is a possibility that this is the start of a short play. It could well just interfere with this accumulation though, and we only get that far, which is fine. That's still a 38 retracement on that whole leg, and absolutely nothing wrong with that. So again, this is why fibs and pullbacks and market structure is so discretionary, because some people will be measuring the move from there all the way up to there. Some people will pick that. Some people will go, no, that's already played out. This is the long. Some people will say, no, it's that there. And, you know, this is why it's all discretionary. So at the moment, though, it could go either way. Really depends on what happens with that US dollar on FOMC on Wednesday. So, but that is a massive extension we've got at the minute on basically against the Canadian and the US pair, specifically against the euro. We've also got pound CAD, pound US, so pound has been weak as well. US dollar Swiss has also hit its monthly. Again, gap down here. So this is the beginning of the month. So that is the monthly range hit, which was done on Friday. We've got the gap down. So that will be your M pattern. If that gap fill short happens, that's a really nice risk reward. If you're using a stop loss based strategy, an entry at the gap fill today, tiny little risk there. And your potential reward obviously is on the monthly move. So you'd be at least getting back down to here. So 200 ADR, probably a quarter of an ADR risk for a 200 ADR reward potentially. Just saying, if you're using stop losses, that's the way you need to look at it. He can't because he wasn't born here. I don't know about that. Is it actually a thing that you have to be born in the US, or is it that you have to have US citizenship? I don't know whether it's, I don't know the rules, but if it is born, obviously, because he's Canadian, yeah, but he has got dual nationality. He is both US and Canadian, isn't he? So who knows if he took over the White House? You know, Trump, he could basically say, Trump, can you pass the baton over to me? Yeah, no problem. Okay, can you quickly pass a law to make it okay for Canadians to run the US? And he'll just go, yep, no problem. There you go, Elon. Money makes money. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's how it works in government, isn't it? Everywhere. If adding limit buttons to position trade EA will also that also apply to buttons of the price action toolkit? Price action toolkit's already got them, as you said. You use them. I don't understand the question. Will that also apply to the buttons of the price action toolkit? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. So I don't understand the question. It's price action toolkit's already got those buttons. I'm just looking at adding them here. That's all. Please rethink the commercials. Got the third already. Very annoying. It's on the lowest possible setting possible. I can't make it any lower. I could turn them off, but I like money. With the big sell-off on the US dollar, you are worried being long? I'm not worried about anything. I'm long at the moment. Who says there's a big sell-off coming, though? That's the thing. I have no idea where it's going. It's either going up or it's going down. Yeah, what I can do is manage my price. That's it. So if it goes down, I will be scaling into a long. And if it goes up, I will be getting out in profit. I have no idea where it's going. No one knows where it's going. It's all based on fundamentals and market moving events. If consumer confidence comes out at 120 and in FOMC they say we're going to pause interest rate drops for the next 3 months because we're worried about inflation, that's going through the roof. And then Trump comes out and says, hey, everybody, we've stopped the war in Russia and we're not going to put the trade tariffs on China. US dollar is going to go through the roof. I have no idea what the future holds, but what I do know is at the moment it is extended. I'm in a position and I'm long. If it goes down, I will change my price and get out later. If it goes up, I will get out. I'm not worried about where it's going because I don't know. You have to stop worrying about stuff you cannot control. You can't control price and you can't predict price. Price will go where price goes based on fundamentals. So there's no point in worrying about stuff you can't control. It's like everybody worries about, is my broker's swap right? Is my broker's commission too high? Are my broker's spreads too wide? They are what they are. You can't control them. Stop worrying about them. Get on with the job. The job is making money. That's it. Stop worrying about stuff you can't control. Do you worry about the weather? Do you worry about whether or not on Saturday you're going to need a coat? No. You just wear a coat or you don't wear a coat. I'm not worried about this going up or down because it's either going to go up or down. It's binary. I have no choice. I am long. You have to be born in the US, do you? Right, yeah. Okay, well then there you go. Elon can't. Unless he passes a rule. You know, this is the thing. Trump can change anything. He's got control of the Senate. Yeah? Think Star Wars. The Emperor became the Emperor because he took control of the Senate and made his own rules and laws. Therefore, he had absolute power. Ring any bells? I thought he was South African. I think he is South... He's a real mix, isn't he? Wow, that's the first time I've Googled someone and their Wikipedia page is not actually at the top. Wow, there's so much news on him, he doesn't even get his wiki page to the top. Dogecoin. Look, Elon Musk, wiki. Dogecoin. It comes out above his name. It's that. The Department of... Oh, dear. He was born in Pretoria, South Africa. Yeah, sorry, no, you're right. Yeah, he was born in South Africa. Then he immigrated to Canada, acquiring Canadian citizenship through his Canadian mother. And now he lives in the US, doesn't he, I think? So, I don't know. Crazy. He's just loaded. That's all you need to know. Got more money than everybody on the planet. It was Bill Gates. Now it's him. Morning, Virginia. It's just a pullback for the US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD will go higher again, my assumption. I'm not going to... I think I've already said this, haven't I? Never, ever assume anything. Assuming things makes an arse of you and me. Never assume anything. That is your prediction. Yeah, I also have tarot cards and I can read tea leaves. Fun fact. I can't. That's a lie. But it's either going up or down. That's it. That's all you need to worry about. Stop trying to predict the future. Be in the trade and deal with the trade. If it goes up, I will get out. If it goes down, I will get in. It's all I can do. It's all you can do. Yeah. The people that come on to these live streams and in these groups that go, this is going there with a 72% probability, have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, because what they're saying is, I can predict the future with 72% accuracy. No, you can't. That's a lie. You can't predict the future. No one can. You need a DeLorean. South Africa, he was born there, yeah. Right, so there's your ADRs. We just had Aussie dollar Swiss hit as well. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, I thought that would happen. So DAX hedge. I'm just going to leave it at 5R today. What's the upside on the DAX? Yeah, I'm going to leave it. That's a monthly as well. Oh, that's a tricky upside today. So we've got the 2-week high, the 3-week high, that high, and a monthly high, all within half an ADR. So upside break today on the DAX. There's a lot of areas of potential resistance to the upside. So 5R is kind of bang in the middle of the zone. So I'm just going to leave it where it is. It could react at any of those levels to the upside. Downside, obviously, there's a high probability of the gap fill. If the gap fill fails, if the gap fill bounce doesn't work, then we're looking at this area here. Difficult. It's really difficult hedge today because we're basically in the middle of a load of chop, so it's very difficult to call a decent level on it. I'm just going to leave them at 5 hours today, see what happens. Ideal for me today would be a clean break on the FTSE to pay for the hedge. So we're still long only FTSE. Bit of a mess today, but deal with it later. Morning, Neo. Price action toolkit doesn't have limit buttons. I honestly don't know. I can't remember. I haven't used it for ages. No, it has buy stops. Has stops. So yeah, it hasn't got limits. Either. But I mean, with this. The reason the sell stop is there is basically these are trailers, basically. So when you have a sell stop and a buy stop in, the idea behind this is let's find a trade. Euro US. So I've got longs on there. So if this basically comes down, the idea behind the stop buttons is we get down to a point where we're hitting, and this is how I play it. I want if I'm long on something, I want the buyers on side before I get in. So the whole idea behind the buy stops is as we get down to here and we hit this level, I will add a buy stop. And if price continues to push down, the buy stop obviously trails above the candle high. So when the buyers enter the market, I get in with the buyers. Yeah. With a limit order, what I'm saying is, as we're getting down to here, if I set a limit order here and basically it gets to that price, it will trigger the limit order, obviously. But what if it just continues to fly through? My buy stop will go with price and I will get a better entry on my position trade. The limit will get triggered and I'll just go into drawdown on it. So this is why I'm not as much of a fan. However, for support resistance bounce plays, they are incredibly useful. And what we're going to cover tomorrow is obviously about trading market structure at support resistance. So the limit order is the better order to use in that case if the bounce happens. But like everything, the type of order you use is better depending on the situation. So if you're getting into a first entry, that's not a bad entry, taking a limit order. Because if it works out, you're going to get a better price. If it doesn't work out there, you're going to get a worse price. Or in fact, it's going to invalidate the trade idea and you shouldn't have taken the limit in the first place, which means you're now short on something you don't want to be. So there's always a plus and minus. But yeah, but price action toolkit doesn't have them. Because the price action toolkit, you wouldn't use limit orders. You're only going to use limit orders in position trading. You wouldn't use them in that. You'd use because the price action toolkit is about trading price action. So price action you're either going to use for a breakout. It's not something that you need limit orders for. It's a totally different thing, isn't it? So while at it, some of us use PTA for strategies to scale into winners. Just press the buy button. No, I've tested that. I'm not introducing that. Thoughts on a feature to scale into winners at a percentage of ADR movement? It doesn't work. I've tested it. It's bad. Trust me. But yeah, if you want to do it, yeah, just press the buy button. It's very easy. Look, if I'm in profit and I press the buy button, I'm getting more on. Ta-da! Just press the buy button. But don't do it automatically. If you want, price action toolkit does that. It will scale into winners for you. Oh, here you go. It's on the exact slide, look. Scaling into a winning trade. Yeah. The problem with scaling into winners is when they're not winners, what you're doing is you're adjusting your price to a worse place. Yeah. So if you get into a trade, let's say, for example, here, I've got two trades on here, one there and one there. Let's say, for example, that was my first entry, not that one. Yeah. So it sat around, did nothing, and then it pushed up and pushed up. So I added. What I've done is I've moved my entry price up. So when it goes against me, I'm in more drawdown. So, you know, like everything, it's good when it works. When it's not working, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I've tested this by adding to winners position trading. And what you end up doing is losing a hell of a lot more money, because when the trade doesn't go against you, the drawdown and the loss is exponentially larger and it happens faster. Yeah. It's good for scalping. Adding to winners when you're scalping, which is why it's a feature in the price action toolkit, is great. So I get into a trade, and as it goes my way, I get into another one. I average in and put a stop loss to protect the position. We don't use stop losses in position trading. So what you're doing is you're making your entry price worse. That's all you're doing by adding to winners. In position trading, in normal scalping, when you're using a stop loss, what you're doing is you're adding size in the hope that it will continue in your direction, but you need to reduce risk. So when you add size, you have to reduce risk as well. Otherwise, what you're doing is doubling your risk every time you take a trade and add to a winner. When it doesn't work out, you lose twice as much. Because we don't use stops, it doesn't make sense to do it in position trading. I have tested it, and it reduces your profitability long term. So you just have to trust me on that one. But for scalping, yeah, adding to winners is great. I've had my biggest winners on futures adding to trades that work, and it's the trades that go parabolic. So here is a perfect example, yeah, of an add to winner, right? I'm long here. We've pushed up, we've pulled back, right? Now add, because this looks like a market structure pullback continuation. So if I add here, what I'm doing is moving my price to here, moving my price up. I'd need to reduce my stop risk under there. So what you're doing is when you take an initial trade with a stop loss, that is the entry, that is the stop. Yeah. So it pushes up, it pulls back, I add more size. Because I'm moving this up, I need to move this up underneath there. So I've reduced risk by 50%, but doubled my lot size, which means that if the trade pays out, I don't lose any more money than I initially risked, but my upside potential is double. Or my target can be reduced by 50%, which means I can get out of the trade quicker. Yeah. So there's two advantages to adding. Your TP, if your TP was 3R and you double the size, you don't need 3R, you only need 1.5R. So it means you just need a quick move up to there and you're out with exactly the same profit as you would have had with a single position. That's the whole idea behind the price action toolkit using scaling in. Yeah, it's just to get you out quicker or to make you more money. But again, even with this, I would still use, when I was trading with this, because I was using this years ago, before I built the ORBEA, this is what I was using to trade opening range breakouts on the indices and scalp. You know, and this is what I was doing, basically, adding into the winners. But with this, you can add into winners at a set distance, but the distance is a variable, and there is no right or wrong. But what it does do is it makes your entry worse. So you have to use scale-ins. Yeah. So if I press the buy button here, yeah, you have to use a scale-in after a pullback. So you need that market structure confirmation. A lot of people do it when you break that high, because you're assuming that if you're going to get market structure, you're going to make a new higher high. But by entering there, you're going to bring your price up to there. If you break even that, you will get taken out on the next pullback in market structure. So you've got to trail your stop as well, but you've just got to make sure that that is not increasing your risk. It's kind of one of those things where when you get good at market structure trading or you get good at price action trading, adding to winners in at the very last stage when you've cracked it. Get break even and get profitable with this first. Jesus, what the hell was that? Wow. Nice one. Don't know what the broker was up to there. But yeah, you add it at the end when you've got it, you cracked it, then start scaling in, because you're adding another element of risk, because what you're doing is saying, yeah, I think I'm so right, I'm going to move my entry price up, I'm going to give myself a worse entry for that extra risk. You've got to have a lot of confidence in the trade, but it does make a lot more money. and you will get the bigger winners. So when this thing takes off, right, let's say, for example, you add another one here and all of a sudden you get a big bull candle, yeah, and then a little flag and another big bull candle. You've got double the size on, and that is going to be worth at least double what it was, because if you have the faith to hold it, and look how far it could go, ADR, yeah, you got all the way up to there on average we're going to reach. You can hold that. You can literally pass a funded account in a day very easily. Exactly what I did. If you remember, you probably won't remember because you probably weren't here. But when I passed the E8 evaluation, I did the morning session on the DAX, passed stage 1, and in the afternoon I passed stage 2 on the FTSE, the NASDAQ. All I did was take one trade. I don't know if anybody in here was there at the time, but I basically took a breakout short at the opening range. It pulled back. I added, it pulled back, I added, and I got out with a pass at 8%. And I did exactly the same trade in the afternoon on the NASDAQ. It just so happened that the days that I entered, or the day that I entered both of those trades, market structure broke perfect. Yeah, that's adding to winners, because that's an 8% trade, and it happened within an hour. I was out, done, 8% on the account, but I didn't risk more than 1% initially. I doubled it to 2%, then I doubled it to 4%, and then I hit target. Done. That easy. But what was happening all the time I was doing that was my entry price was there, then my entry price was there, then my entry price was there, target was there. So, you know, one pullback to a double top on that market structure, I'm in quite large drawdown. 1, 2, 3% drawdown. It's very dangerous, but equally very profitable. So it's kind of a bit of an advanced technique, really. Not for the faint-hearted. I've been looking at scaling in on SIH. I've been considering adding. No, because SIH is a hedging strategy. You can't have uneven trades. If you want to do that, Tom, use the ORB EA or the price action toolkit. ORB has scaling. Why couldn't I see it? Because I'm on indicators. ORB, I think, has scaling, doesn't it? I can't remember. Add to singles, yeah. So opening range breakout has add, and again, it's done in on distance, so you just have to kind of calculate roughly what it is. But you know, what do you add in on? If, in my opinion, if you're going to do this type of trading, you're much better off using the price action toolkit than this, because the price action toolkit is all it is basically is fast trade buttons. Yeah. So the whole idea behind this is you manually trade. So if you want to take an opening range breakout, that's fine. As soon as it does that, you press the button, you're in, and then let it automatically trade how you want to. So it's got complete control over trailing stops, how it trails, whether it trails on tick, whether it trails on candle. It will scale into trades for you, move to break even, add when it sees a particular candlestick pattern. It does everything. But for me, that is all I was interested in. The buttons. I just wanted to be able to press a button quickly. Yeah, this is the thing that's missing from MetaTrader. Yeah, these buttons are useless. If I want to react quickly to a market on a 1 minute or a 5 minute time frame, I can't go, oh, hang on a minute. Let me just get my lot size calculator out. So I need to go 0.23. Okay. I don't want to buy now. I want to buy if it breaks this candle. You can't do any of that. You just can't do it. That's what the price action toolkit is for, is to allow you to do anything you want to in MetaTrader. It's what's missing. It's the kind of the missing link in the software. But yeah, I'm not going to add it to SIH because that basically, this SIH is unique edges. It hedges. If I add that in, the edge is gone. Just doesn't make sense. Right, let's whiz through everything on FX. The only RSI we've got today is the Swiss yen. That's a 4-hour RSI extension to the downside. That's the hourly chart. To the downside. So long opportunity on there. You've kind of missed it. The actual entry was, I mean, it's only a 75 extension. So the entry was actually on Friday. So this was the 4-hour RSI extension. So you'd have been in long on that move there for that 2 hours. You'd have got in there. You're in profit. So that's the only RSI we got today. Morning, Franco. Honestly, not seeing any good trades this week. Holidays always make me crazy, so I just sit and enjoy my turkey. Yes. Poor old turkeys. Our turkeys get to live a month longer than your turkeys, because we have ours at Christmas. Nice resistance bounce as well. So just coming out of that accumulation again. Right, so we're going to run through all the FX pairs this morning. Have a look where everything is, see what is going on. Gap fill is done on the Aussie dollar CAD. So that one's complete. Next entry for me is down here. So looking for a bounce off the weekly lows. So I'll start off with the yens. The yen, I've been looking through the yen every day, trying to find some indication of them getting upset by the market price with the US dollar yen, and there's nothing. So there's a lot of talk coming out of Japan at the moment, but not a lot of talk about intervention. In fact, there's no talk about intervention at all. So the yen pairs, basically, obviously, we know that the main issue at the moment is the market is kind of still in a little bit of a shock from the intervention move. The US, obviously, yen has pulled back massively now. So we are got a 71.9 retracement on that initial intervention move. It still looks to me like they want to do the carry trade, but the problem is this is all skewed by the Trump election. So it's difficult to tell how much of this is normal market movement, just doing the normal carry trade, playing off those positive interest rates, and how much of it is actually Trump and the election causing strength in the US dollar. So it's very difficult to call at the minute. I'm still flat on all yen pairs at the moment. I'm not trading any yens as much as possible. I'm just keeping my exposure out of the yen. However, if I do see a decent setup, I will potentially take one, but I really only want to be long in it just because of swaps. So all these yen pairs at the moment, the US dollar yen is kind of the anomaly in the fact that it's done such a massive pullback. All the other yen pairs at the moment are completely flatline. Yeah, there's just no movement. So there's just no opportunity to trade these. It's highs and lows at the moment. So high and low of ranges. So right now, long it and short it up there. That's all you can really do with it because it's just not going anywhere. So New Zealand dollar, we've got news coming up this week with interest rate drops. So there's a chance that we could get a breakout if the New Zealand drops this week. So that's where I'd be looking for a long opportunity, which is, weeks away. It's going to take a long time to get down there unless there's some massive drop on the New Zealand dollar. Pound, a little bit more movement on the pound, but still, it's not really going anywhere. We've managed to get a 61.8 retracement on the intervention leg, but we're, it's very, very contracted week by week. We're not really doing a lot. Look, bit of an up week, undone it. Yeah, it's not really doing a lot. It's moving on news, and that's about it. So very difficult to trade any yen at the minute. Long opportunities is the ideal for me, but there you go. There's a short I took. And this is why I don't really want to take shorts. That one there took 3 weeks to play out. Holding for 3 weeks with a swap at 13.83 is just too expensive. So I'm really just not keen on getting in. Swiss yen was the only one that I was interested in because of this accumulation and propulsion gap bounce play. So I was playing that double top, and it didn't work out. So obviously it moved up to the next accumulation and used that one. Again, this is what we're going to be covering tomorrow in the members stream. So yeah, it looks at the moment very difficult to trade from my perspective, so I'm not getting involved in it. Aussie yen, again, so very similar to the New Zealand yen, just stuck. So staying on the sidelines on those. Swiss franc at the moment, I've got no exposure on the Swiss. I'm in a similar boat on the Swiss. I'm cautious to trade it at the minute because of what's going on in the Middle East. So at the moment, the swaps are long only Swiss because of the cost of doing business. The Swiss said last week as well they will not rule out negative interest rates. So there is a good chance of the Swiss weakening because they indicated that there is a possibility they will drop interest rates back down to negatives. So it means, you only want to be longing against the Swiss. However, at the moment, if there is anything escalating with Russia, this thing is going to be down here because everybody's going to buy the Swiss in a safe haven run. So again, with this one, fundamentals point at that. World events point at that. It's very difficult to take a trade on. And I think, as you can see, the market is very much of the same opinion. Don't really know where to go with it at the moment. So all the Swiss franc pairs, again, I'm not really getting involved in. I don't think I've got the EA running on them at the minute. If it is running on them, it's looking for RSI extensions to the downside to go long. It's not really getting anything because RSI is just not getting extended, really, because it's not moving very much. So all the Swiss franc pairs are very much the same. We have broken out on the CAD Swiss, obviously, on the last few weeks' worth of CAD strength. We've had a very strong Canadian dollar. So that one is taking off. Entry would have been down here. I didn't take it, though. So that one's long. We're tapping into potential resistance here at the moment. So you've got those lows, that accumulation, those lows there. So this zone here, basically, it's not there yet. But if we get an ADR hit to the upside, nice looking short. But again, it's going to cost you to hold it if it doesn't work out. So Euro Swiss, that's broken to the downside basically on the weak euro. We got the bounce out of the lows, which I drew in here. So that was that previous low. Have to go right back out to see it because it's all the way back in July last year. Sorry, July this year even, not July last year. So yeah, potentially, but euro is weak. So again, this one I got out of the Euro Swiss this morning. So target hit on that one. I'm happy to take longs on this still, I think, because if the euro is going to be weak, that tends to drag the Swiss a little bit with it. However, if the Swiss are going to reduce interest rates, which it sounds like they will do, that's the more logical direction to go. So I will take those trades again if they come up. Pound Swiss, completely sideways. Again, yeah, same thing. Intervention, no idea. Yeah, market. The Swiss and the yen are the same at the minute. The market is just confused, and what's happening with these is they've kind of gone very neutral. So it means that the only reason these pairs are going to move is if the cross actually takes off. So if New Zealand takes off in either direction, it'll move. Otherwise, there's just no reason for any movement on the Swiss franc or the yen unless there is an intervention required or there is some kind of safe haven run put in from the conflict. So very hard to trade these at the moment. Obviously, US strength, there you go. So that's taken off just because the US is strong at the minute. Nothing to do with the Swiss franc. So Swiss is neutral, yen is neutral. So at the minute, I will trade in line with swaps if I can get an entry, but finding entries at the moment because they're not moving is hard. Yeah, because if something doesn't move, it's not extended. If it's not extended, there's no mean reversion opportunity, so therefore it just sits there not trading. So that's fine. We don't want to take trades for the sake of taking trades. We take trades when they're set up. So those are your Swissies. They're all very sideways unless we've got a big strong move happening in its cross, which we have with that particular one there. Only problem with price action toolkit is that you can't trade futures. Yes, you can. Why can't you trade with a fixed contract size. Price action toolkit, you can trade with fixed lot sizes. You've got inputs to enter the lot size, so you just enter fixed lots. Therefore, it will just trade fixed lots. You can do everything. Right, Aussie dollar CAD. So we'll start at the top with the Aussies. No follow through on the FTSE. I got a feeling that's going to gap fill as well. Annoying today, but not a lot we can do. So Aussie CAD, very, very sideways at the moment. Last entry I had was that long here, second entry and out. So that was actually a kind of tiny loss I took on that one, but I'm quite glad I'm out of it anyway, because it's just not going anywhere. So at the minute it's flat. Another entry is on at the moment, so I am long from... There's a manual I took. I think it was there. I took it the next day, manual, long. So out of those two, long again, just waiting around basically at the moment. So when I say I'm glad I'm out of it, I meant out of that particular trade, because we are just going nowhere. I had an exit on it, but it didn't quite get to target. I think target on it was initially somewhere around there. So it was very close to getting to target, an ADR on the average, but yeah, target was somewhere around about there. Didn't quite get to it. So entered it long again, because I still think we are holding here, and I still think there is a good chance of some weakness coming through on that US and that CAD. So I don't have a problem being long on it. The swap is either direction on it. So when you've got something that's moving so badly and not moving at all, it doesn't really matter which way you're in. So Vitaly, because of risk settings, why can't you just use a standard? Why can't you just use a fixed risk? Oh, it hasn't got fixed lot size. No, you're right. You can't. Yeah. There you go. No, you can't. You're right. I don't know. I've got so many products. I forget what I've put into each one. So yeah, no, you can't trade futures with it. Do you know what? CFDs, they're the same. Just trade CFDs. There you go. Right. Aussie dollar CAD. So yeah, long on that at the minute. As I said, out of that one because it just didn't go anywhere. That was a fat finger because I set the EA up wrong and it got me out accidentally. So entered again, but it's still not going anywhere. So I'll give that a few days. Australian dollar news-wise, we've got CPI coming out on Wednesday. So that is forecast to bounce. If we get the bounce, there's a good chance that we'll get that move on the Aussie. So there is a good chance of a movement up on this, but trying to get to target, even from that trade to hit the propulsion gap, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 days in, nowhere near it. Yeah, it's just not moving, but I don't know. It's just stuck. So in it because I want some exposure. No other reason. Aussie, New Zealand, shorts on that one at the moment. So looking for a pullback on this. I'd kind of like to be out of this if possible by Wednesday, because there's a lot of movement coming on the Aussie and New Zealand. Which way it's going to go, I don't know. But if the New Zealand weakens, this could go into a little bit of a squeeze. So we'll see. Just go out a bit more. Wow, got to go out quite a long way to find resistance to the upside now. So we're at the upside resistance, which is at the moment is kind of holding. Other than that, there's nowhere to go. But all the way up there. So yeah, that would be a painful rally if it happened. Euro odd has just hit ADR. So yeah, so long way to go if that doesn't hold that high. So at the minute it's holding. I'd ideally like to be out. If we could get down to here by Wednesday, I will probably manually just exit this and take whatever that is. It won't be a lot of money, but I'd rather be flat for the news just in case than hope that that happens. Yeah. So I'll see if that one plays out by then. If it's not, there's nothing I can do. I'm in it. So Aussie US, again, at the moment, got longs on this one. So first entry was in here. We pulled down. Yeah. And now we just accumulated for an entire week. Nothing you can do with it. It's flatlined. It's dead. It's in just sitting there doing nothing. So stuck in this one at the moment. It's been in profit twice up here and on the gap. Obviously, I couldn't get out this morning because I was asleep and it wasn't enough for the EA to get out at target. So still in it at the moment. If we are going long, i.e. if we get weakness in the US or we get some positive Aussie news, there's no reason why we won't come back and test this, although that is just part of an A-shaped recovery. So, but it is a big sell order, obviously. So somewhere around here, if you look at this on a higher time frame on the 4-hour chart, that is a massive propulsion gap. So I'm targeting the lower of the propulsion gap on the 4-hour. Actually, I'm targeting the middle of the propulsion gap on the 4-hour. Let's move that down a little bit. So yeah, so hoping that we get a push up into the highs and we just are doing a retracement on that. And I don't care if it obviously does a V-shaped recovery or whether market structure continues to the downside. It doesn't matter either way. So those are the Aussies. Euro, what was the Euro hit we just had? Euro odd. There we go. Whoops. So Euro odd, we're at ADR. Bounced just shy of ADR, look. So we're sitting in the propulsion move from last week, from Friday. So it looks like they're undoing that propulsion gap. And then we'll see where we go from there. But Euro weak at the minute. There's no real reason the Euro should be strong. Obviously, they might scale into shorts on the Australian dollar prior to the news coming up. So we got a lovely area of recent resistance coming up here at 175 to 200 ADR. Very unlikely we'll hit that today. If we did hit it, though, that would be a lovely short, 50% retracement. So market structure, very obviously bearish. So you'd be looking for pull back into there for a new short entry. For me, I am going to take shorts. So if this gets beyond 125 ADR, so at the moment I've got my position trader EA set up on hourly RSI extensions 70-30 and ADR 125 extensions. So if we get above ADR 125 and test Friday's high, I'll be getting short on this. So I will be getting into this one today if we get up there. It's not extended on the RSI, but it will be an ADR reversal, and it's pushing very nicely at the moment. So good chance we're going to get that 125 trigger hit on ADR. Euro CAD. You need a new broker? Why? What's wrong with my broker? Oh, what, for this? Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't pay any attention to price action here. Never trade that because it doesn't exist. Yeah, the market's shut. Market opens at 7 o'clock. Electronic markets open at 7 a.m. for the DAX and the FTSE. This doesn't exist. So this is just broker saying, hey, do you want to trade the FTSE while it's shut? We'll give you some prices. No thanks. So yeah, it's not real. It's not real price action. It's just made up broker numbers. This is Darwinex. Yeah, Darwinex are, in my opinion, one of the most reputable brokers in the UK. So, but they all do the same thing. Brokers are there to take your money. That's their job. It's in their job description. If you were to go and sign up, go for a job at a broker, they would sit you down and go, right, the job description says this, but your actual job is to take every penny from everybody that tries to trade with us. And you can do that by taking their swaps, their spreads, or you can spread the market so that it gets their stop losses. Yeah, here's the buttons to press. Off you go. Interview over. Monkey can do it, basically. It's only about looking at numbers and pressing buttons. You watch all the brokers now go and have a go at me. Euro CAD. pushing up at the moment. We've got the gap fill opportunity on the Euro CAD, though that one doesn't seem to be after it today. So at the minute, Euro being neutral, stroke weak. Any kind of Canadian strength, which we've had in abundance for the last week or so, is obviously going to make it move hard. Look at that RSI extension on the 4-hour. Wow, that's a biggie. Not been down there for a while, have we? Been down there ever. That one's a huge drop. Yeah, I mean, we haven't had an extension at those levels. That was the last extension we had down at that level. Look. Boing. We had one there as well. Just accumulated for a few weeks after that. So, yeah, really big extension. From obviously all the news, the fallout from the elections, everything that's been going on. It's just been massive parabolic movement on the CAD. So really good opportunity for longs at the moment. I'm only taking shorts because it's too expensive for me to long it. But if you are, that is a really good level. So you've got a backup coming here. So we've got this previous support resistance area here. Yeah, so we know there's buyers at this level. In fact, that's pretty much where price touched. So it has actually bounced off of that level already. So yeah, good looking long opportunity. So some kind of pullback on that. Flag break, medium. Yeah, something like that if we're going to continue market structure short. But I will be getting in on that. So I'll be getting in if we pull back into this area here. I'll be shorting that. Euro Swiss at the moment sideways. We've got all this support area at the moment on the Euro Swiss that I've got drawn in, which we've kind of tapped into. It's bounced very nicely from those lows. Complete recovery on Friday. So Friday obviously was PMI day. Absolutely crazy moves on Friday across the board. We had loads of negative numbers coming in on the euro, so that euro got absolutely hammered, and then it all got undone in the afternoon. So it's just a very bizarre day. Friday was just weird, very weird. We had a lot of talking head news going on and stuff, but it's just massive volatility. I think we had 200 ADR in either direction on that. So 845, so 54. So that was 175. Oh no, sorry, it's more than that. Yeah, 900. So that was pretty much 200 ADR to the downside. And then we pushed up about 250 to the upside. So 450% of its average daily range it did on Friday. Absolutely massive day in both directions. Doesn't matter whether you longed it or shorted it Friday, you made money, basically. Well, you should have done. But at the minute, obviously, Euro is weak. Swiss franc is potentially going to weaken by dropping interest rates. So this could actually go in either direction. And what that tends to mean for this type of pair, the same as with the euro pound, is you get a lot of range bound activity. So this move that we had here, obviously, started to undo itself. But there's no reason why this shouldn't just sit around. So any extensions you get are likely to play out in either direction. They probably play out pretty quick, as you can see. Any RSI extensions don't take long to play out, but you need to just bear in mind that if you short this and it doesn't play out, i.e. it goes long for a couple of weeks, it's going to cost a fortune to hold it. So I'm looking for longs, obviously, as you can see, so I got out of that on Friday. This was another fat finger trade from last week. So when I mucked about with the EA, I basically updated the EA last week, for those who don't know, and I was playing around with the settings in the EA in here, and there was a bug in the EA where the timed exits were still triggering if you had button trading set to true, and I didn't realize. So I fixed that bug now, and it's been pushed out as an update. But I was mucking about with it, and I set that to 8. And of course, every time I changed to a new pair, it went, that's been running for more than 8 hours, and it shut it. So I had a bit of didn't lose any money. I think I was $16, so it's irrelevant. But so there was another position on there. So that was position 1, that was position 2, that was position 3. So the average would have been here. So I still would have been out of it this morning anyway, even with that one. But anyway, so sitting waiting for a new opportunity to go long. If we can get a pullback. So 125 ADR to the downside I'll take, or if we get any extensions below ADR, RSI, I will take those long. Euro pound, but again, that's a risky trade, the Euro Swiss, because of possible safe haven runs with what's going on in Russia. Euro pound, so very much the same as the Euro Swiss. Close trade partners, tends to be a very range bound instrument. Very low ADR, 45. Trade this in either direction. At the moment, I'm looking for shorts. The swaps on the longs aren't bad, but they're not great. So I'm really looking for shorts on it. So any kind of push up this week, I'll be getting in short. Any ADR hits to the upside. Yeah. So just waiting for some reason to get in short on it. The pound at the moment, very, very, very sticky. So the pound at the minute, Bailey's very reluctant to drop interest rates. Very reluctant. So it's unlikely the pound will be dramatically weak. The euro, yes, they are looking to continue to drop interest rates. In fact, there was something I saw. Got Bank of England's Lombardelli speaking at the moment. There was something I saw out of the ECB. I can't remember whether it was Friday or whether it was over the weekend. Majority of reaching 2% inflation target permanently to be achieved next year, including new But what they were basically saying was they don't see any reason to keep tight restrictions on the market, meaning that there's no reason to keep interest rates high. So if that CPI number continues to do what it's doing at the moment, they will continue to drop interest rates, which will continue to make this week not dramatically weak, as in collapsing, but it will be kind of like that for the foreseeable, the euro, potentially. So any kind of pops, looking for market structure pullbacks, any double tops. Yeah, so just looking for short opportunities on it, really. Because the pound is going to remain neutral-ish strong, potentially, unless obviously that changes, you should be shorting. But yeah, it's still, it's still going to go long. It's just they will probably work out better and be more profitable. Faster trades. UN New Zealand have got a short on at the moment. That was from ages ago, I think. Oh, no, it wasn't. That was yesterday. What was that? That was an ADR hit. Yeah, so that was an ADR reversal from yesterday, Friday. So had a short on there. Again, that was an ADR reversal, that one. So that was a 125 ADR short out. Same thing, 125 ADR short. Obviously, it was way more than 125, so you could have got out of the long already. But in the short, don't mind scaling into this short. Swaps are good. Doesn't cost any money to short it, so I'm going to continue to short it. New Zealand dollar, obviously, potential for that one to move on Wednesday. So my exposure is long New Zealand. So I'm hoping that we get the results that the market basically, when they come out in the press conference on Wednesday, what I'm hoping for is them to say that this drop should be sufficient to control inflation. We're expecting a bounce in inflation, therefore we're going to hold rates during December/January, which will make the New Zealand dollar bullish. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, short on that one on an ADR reversal. Second entry will go in today if we push up into the Friday high. We've got the Thursday high as well, forming a nice little resistance area there. So second entry will go in there, and then I'll look for a pullback on that move. Obviously, market structure is short at the moment. So got high, low, lower high, lower low. Looking for a lower high continuation short. We've got this big old gap. Yeah, so I wouldn't really class this as a breakout. There's a potential that this is a false breakout and we're going to come back up. So it may be one that I need to hold for a bit. But again, I don't care about holding when there's no cost involved. So yeah, so short on an ADR reversal on Friday on that one. Euro US dollar sitting in at the moment, looking for short opportunities. So if we get a push up today, I will get in any RSI extension, but not looking to get in at the moment. Obviously, this US at the minute, it's impossible to tell whether or not this is going to continue to carry on like this. So we'll wait and see. But I suspect that we probably will get a pullback on the US because the market's going to find it very hard to continue this move. So that's your election there. We've had a continuation. So I think the way that I'm looking at the US dollar and looking at the US dollar at the moment, the US market at the moment, is I'm looking at the election being kind of a reset button. Anything that's happened before that, I'm not sure that we will come back and fill this. I'm not sure that we'll get back to these areas. So I'm looking for this to be current price action. Yeah. It could well completely come back up. We'll have to wait and see. It's all going to depend what happens with what's going on in Russia and what happens with him when he gets in January. So the next 2 months is either going to unwind this, getting ready for the Trump announcements to come, or the market is going to watch what he's doing now and assume that what he says is gospel and it will carry on. So it's impossible to tell where the US is going to go short term. Long term, you would expect it to be bullish. But, you know, there's so much going on with Russia and Israel, etc., etc. at the moment. It's very hard to call. But Euro, US dollar, so there is a gap fill opportunity today. If we get the gap fill, you could get a little springboard out of that. But it may push up, in which case there's a gap fill play anyway. So I will be getting in up there. And I'll probably target the gap fill to the downside. But any kind of extension on RSI to the upside, I'll short it. And any ADR to the upside, I will short. Wouldn't the gap actually be measured from official close of the exchange? Yeah. In futures it is, yeah. Everything is rough. So, you know, the thing with the US markets and the Euro markets are very different in the fact that the US has the Globex session where you can trade it on the Globex exchange pretty much 24/7. Not 24/5 sort of thing. It is shut for an hour, a couple of hours overnight. But with the European markets, the electronic exchanges open an hour before for pre-market trading. So this is all not real. If you look at the futures markets, you won't see any of this. And the futures market, as you say, will shut somewhere around here. So that's the actual gap. But what you tend to find with CFDs is whatever the close is, the actual close on your broker's CFD will be usually around about the same level. Unless there's a lot of expected overnight forecasting, in which case they may factor that in. You know, it's a very much an anomaly on CFDs with futures, with indices. It's difficult to call and it's always one of those things. This is why I'm always very rough about trading. I don't have any. This is the exact thing that you do because there is no exact. Some days it's this, some days it's not. Some days you should have taken the close on the DAX at 530. Some days you should have taken your broker's one. And it will coincidentally hit to the pip. You'll see it. Like literally, it will get there and it will bounce off of it. And it's just coincidental. But, you know, it's just one of those things. Kevin asks, the DAX looks like it's going to drop. Yeah, it could be. Market structure short still. Until we break that high. If we break that high, it's not short anymore. But anyway, I've basically tested every theory out there. They've all got a zero-sum edge, basically. Everything, you know, trade to the gap, bounce the gap, do whatever you want to. There's a 50-50 chance when you get to any price point that it will go up or down, regardless of what happened yesterday. This is the thing that every strategy, and quite rightly, every strategy focuses on price patterns. Yeah. I use market structure. It's a price pattern. But everybody focuses on the close, the high, the low, the open. And yes, lows and highs will have orders at them. But the number of orders at those levels, when you get there, is what makes it either bounce or not bounce. And it will bounce if the weight of orders is more at that level than the weight of orders approaching that level. If the weight of orders approaching that level are more than the weight of limit orders sitting at that level, it will break it. So regardless of how you trade, what you do, what indicator you use, where you draw your line, every time you get to the line, the probabilities are 50-50 based on weight of orders by banks and institutions at that price point. So whether you pick your broker's close, the 5:30 close, or what, is irrelevant, because when we get to the whatever, it will do whatever based on volume of order. So none of it matters, does it? You've got risk. That's all you have. So when price gets to a point, you have a 50-50 probability of it either going with you or against you. The only thing you can do is wrap risk around that. Risk is the only thing you can control. You can't control the level or the price action. So there's no point in worrying about it. I had a guy contact me quite a while ago, and I haven't had this email for a while because most brokers now use UTC plus 2. But I had somebody contact me saying all of my candlesticks are different to his candlesticks. And he said, how can I possibly trade the way that you trade when my candlesticks are different? Yeah. And I used to have this a lot, and I remember going through this. One of my mentors at the time was saying, make sure your broker has what are called New York candle closes, or New York close candles, which means that the very last candle closes at a specific New York even hour. Now, pretty much all brokers use UTC plus 2 candlesticks. There's a few out there that don't, but there's not many that aren't using this because they want everything standardized as much as possible. So we all see exactly the same candlesticks roughly, but some people that aren't on that will use a different candlestick. So their 4-hour candles, whereas my 4-hour candles here will close this one at 8 o'clock, theirs will be 6 o'clock, meaning that the price action they see on their chart is 2 hours different on a 4-hour chart, completely different. So where I see a bullish engulfing, they will see a hammer or something. Yeah, it's just impossible to trade. But all a candlestick is a representation of price over time. So the high and the low over that period is the high and the low over that period. If you want to take a short there, fine. Understand the odds are still the same. It's 50-50 when you get to that price point. If somebody with a different candlestick sees the high of the candlestick being there, because their broker shows different price points. I mean, it wouldn't be because that's 8 hours difference, but you get the point. If theirs was a different high, they will be taking an order there. It's a completely different trade at a completely different price, but for the same reason, they see a line on the chart. The odds of their trade working and the odds of my trade working are exactly the same. So don't worry about details. Just get in. Because you can't control price, yeah, and you can't control where it's going to go, or you can't control where it's been either. It's just what it is, isn't it? So don't worry about details. Gaps, I was on Top Step TV the other day watching Hogue on there, and they had a trader on, right? And this guy is one of their top traders, and they were both using VWAP. Right. And he said which was something which was, you know, kind of hammers home the point I've just been saying. He said, I can see your VWAP is different to mine. Are you using the 730 or the 830 VWAP? And I just heard it and I was like, if you can just change one setting in an indicator to give a completely different reading, but you're both trading a VWAP bounce, how ridiculous is it that you're trading a VWAP bounce when you can adjust where the bounce happens? Yeah, it's the same as most indicators. A moving average, you can fine tune any moving average. Yeah, I could fine tune a moving average so that it hits there, there, and there. I just need to pick the right number and the right type of moving average, and I can show you a moving average that has a 100% strike rate. But then if you change one of those settings, all of a sudden the strike rate drops. Yeah, and they said the same thing about the VWAP. He said, I noticed your VWAP's different to mine. Are you using the 730? And he was like, yeah, I'm using the 830. So you're both trading the same strategy with completely different price points for your entries. Doesn't make any difference what price point you pick. You press the button, it either goes or it doesn't. That's it. That's all you've got. So it's interesting watching that channel because you've got all these guys that are pro prop traders, yeah, but they're all just pressing a button at the end of the day. They're having a really good lucky run, and they're really good risk managers. That's what they are, basically. But they don't care about specifics on the chart. They see price moving and they go, oh, if it goes that way and continues, I'll get in and I'll hold it. They just hold it for longer than when it goes against them. That's it. That's all you have when you're scalping. Same with this. Yeah, this is holding at the moment, this level. So take a short. It will either will or it won't. That's all you got. Very simple trading when you boil it down. It's 50-50, isn't it? Come the swap information on the chart from the price action. Come the swap information on the chart from the price action toolkit. Lucas, I don't understand what you mean. Massive gap on open today. I could hear the screams of traders. Yeah, always. Working my 50,000 prop account, Franco. Live 3 months, winning so far. Good out, good one. 4-hour chart has been a blessing. Trading less, winning more. Yeah. Too bad I had to have a heart attack to learn. Hey, if it's a life lesson that is good, Franco, and you've come out of it and you're still alive and it's improved your trading, maybe we should all have one, as long as it's not fatal. I think you're the first person that's learnt from a heart attack how to trade better, which is a good thing. I'm impressed with that. Much better, healthy and strong. Good. Glad to hear it. Franco, glad you're better. Oh, yeah. Also in 4-hour for prop account. Phase 2, less noise. Yeah, 4-hour, always. When you go up a time frame, you have less chop. The less chop you have, the more confirmation of price action you will be able to trade. The thing that makes you a better trader on the 4-hour time frame is not your ability increasing to identify opportunities. I'm just highlighting that as a double top out of propulsion just because it's there. But it's not the fact that it's easier to see it. It's the fact that you've only got one trade there that week. When you drop down onto the 15-minute chart, you've got all these opportunities that week. There's millions of them. Yeah, so going up a time frame reduces overtrading. Overtrading is one of the key things that kills everybody, isn't it? Yeah, so the higher up you go, which is why I only trade 1-hour, 4-hour charts. If you go up to these time frames, you're not going to be able to take many trades, which means you can sit in your trades for longer. You can have your stops further apart, which means you allow the market to breathe and prove you right. If you've got a 50-50 probability of being right and wrong, and you put a stop loss there, you're going to be wrong more. Yeah, so trading low time frames, trying to get that little sniper entry there again and again and again is going to kill you X number of times. If you only take one trade a week, you're only going to get killed once, but the probability of it playing out is going to be bigger. So yeah, 1-hour, 4-hour charts. There's very few traders I know that are profitable on Forex that do not trade 1, 4 or daily. Anybody down here in the 5s and the 15s, You're just trading algorithmic chop, and it's luck. A lot of this is luck. You know, you don't know when it's going to turn, so you're either lucky and you got it right, or you're not. That's it, isn't it? At the end of the day, on your chart you have a top swap information, good or bad. On your chart you have the top swap information, good or bad. So at the FX charts with the toolkit. This is the position trader EA, Lucas. Yeah, this is the position trader EA. That comes in the position trader EA. As Travels just said. Yeah, sorry. This is trouble with being on delay with the chat. You're talking about stuff I was talking about 10 minutes ago. I should keep up with chat more often, shouldn't I? Right, anyway, pound. So we whiz for the pound pairs. So pound US dollar, pound odd. So pound overall, very kind of like that for me at the moment. Bailey's just not dropping those interest rates fast enough. We are currently sitting at 4.75. We've come down. I'm not convinced we're going to get another one this year. So, you know, we are really sticky with interest rates. Inflation is very worrying. The bounce that we had on inflation was huge. So we're up at 2.3. We were at 1.7. We've gone up 0.6. Yeah, so half point bounce in inflation is not good, and it means that we really shouldn't be dropping interest rates. So as much as I hate to say it, Bailey was right to be restrictive for longer. Although he said he was going to do something different, what he actually did actually probably isn't too bad. However, I still think there's a much more probability of the pound remaining sort of neutral and others dropping interest rates faster. So if the pound doesn't drop interest rates and stays where it is, and everybody else, as we're seeing with the Aussie, New Zealand and that, really wanting to drop interest rates quickly, the pound should be bullish. So however, we've also got the other added complication of the budget. And as you can see, the market really didn't like the budget. So we've got businesses now in the UK being strangled. Unemployment is going to rise as they can't employ. We've got charities saying they're going to have to sack people. You know, it's a case of, at the moment, the unemployment rate is going to rise because the costs are unbelievable for businesses now. Some of the pubs and hospitality sector, you know, the prices are high because they're being taxed through the eyeballs at the moment for alcohol and everything, and now they're having to put the prices up further because they've got to pay an extra £80,000 a year in staff bills. That's 4 members of staff they could cut, which is going to happen. We'll cut the 4 members of staff if we can. So it's difficult for the pound at the moment because fundamentally, from interest rates and inflation perspective, it's bullish. From an economic perspective, it's bearish, which is why I have to kind of say I'm pretty neutral, although I think that is slightly more likely moving forward for the next sort of 3 to 6 months. So at the moment, if you look at all the pound pairs, the why do you not change? The swap costs for me at the moment to go long are the ones to take as well. So for me, I'm only looking for longs on pound pairs. It doesn't mean it's not going to go in both directions, obviously. So what I'm going to do is just wait for any ADR extensions to the downside, 125 extensions or RSI extensions to take long opportunities. So at the minute, I've got a long on from last week. We've had this very big drop. We had a flag break short. Yeah, so you can see I took a trade on that one as well. So there's a quick in and out there. But yeah, looking for a pullback on that leg, really. So target would be back up at this high, back in that propulsion gap, or possibly a little bit lower. So watching the weekly low from 2 weeks ago. Sorry, 3 weeks ago. That's your 2 week low, your 3 week low. So yeah, looking for a push back up into this area. And then obviously potentially it could come back down again, but obviously we got news this week on the Australian dollar. Pound CAD, got longs on this. I'm in 4 now on the pound CAD, so this is my kind of main issue trade at the moment. It's not an issue really, but it's this Canadian strength not stopping. So yeah, we had a bit of a pullback from the election and it's collapsed on the Canadian strength. So I'm looking for a pullback on this leg here. My average is within ADR. So any kind of test of this accumulation and that low, and we got that monthly low there as well, is where I will look to get out. So 150 ADR to the upside is what I'm looking for. So I'm hoping this reversal alert from Friday's move and this morning's gap up will be a test of the gap fill and then continue. So we'll see. It's whether this gap holds or not today. But yeah, this Canadian's not stopping, is it? Again, if it all escalates in Russia, oil price is going to go through the roof. Canadian exports of oil will go through the roof. Canadian dollar will go through the roof. So there's so many external factors from these conflicts going on at the moment, which can drive these in either direction. It's very, very difficult to call any long-term movement, because normally when there's no conflict going on, you can say, right, well, the economics say, yeah, economy is going to do good, economy is going to do bad, inflation's going up, interest rates will go up, inflation's going down, interest rates will go down. That is still the case. However, you've got Russia and the conflict bubbling there with the potential to overflow, and every single country then gets involved. So oil prices fly, US CAD flies. Yeah, everything else drops in the Eurozone. Everything will be pulling out of the euro because that's where it's going to bubble into. You know, so there's so many factors going on at the minute, but we can't worry about the what ifs. We have to look at what's happening at the moment. And at the moment, we've got a strong CAD, which means in potential, elastic band theory, the markets will start to take profit on that leg at some point. So long. So entry initially was all the way back here. What we actually got was nothing for an entire week and then a second week drop. So you may be getting into your first there if you weren't in initially. Pound New Zealand, I can't trade this at the moment. Swaps are just too high. Not trading it. So at the moment, it's a beautiful thing to trade at the moment as well. I mean, it doesn't matter how you get in or when you get into this. It's just moving up and down all the time. You just can't not make money on it. Yeah, everywhere you go, it makes money, and it has been for months. So it's a great thing to trade, just very expensive. So you could literally take any ADR extension to the upside, any RSI extension on this. You only had one there really, which was out on that. You had one short there, but any RSIs you could take on it. In and out, done. So welcome aboard, John. John has just become a member. John Doe. John Doe. Who are you? That's the name of somebody when they arrive in a morgue that we don't know who they are, so we call them John Doe. You could be anybody. You could be a spy. You could be my broker. Welcome aboard, John. Go and consume all the content on the website. Not on the website, on YouTube. All the members' stuff is there. Loads of it. So yeah, good luck catching up. We'll be on tomorrow morning. Hopefully you've caught up by then. No one's ever going to catch up, but there's some really good content on there, so go and watch that. So yeah, this one I think you can trade in either direction. Just wait for a setup. So ADR extensions, RSI extensions. Yeah, it's going up and down all the time. So real name is Dan. Okay. Join the Discord group as well. So when you go into the members section, which is here, posts, that tells you how to link your Discord to YouTube, and then you'll get access to the members group in Discord where we chuck all the EAs we're working on and stuff. So yeah, either way on that one. Pound US, obviously collapsing like crazy at the moment. Yeah. Will it, won't it? We just don't know if this is going to continue. So gap feels almost done on that. Looking at support areas on this, we've got a very nice low coming up here, which was previous resistance. It was only tested once, so it's not the greatest in the world, because it invalidated it there on a news event. It was 2 news events which it invalidated it on. But we did come back to that area and rebuy it. So there is a little bit of a bounce potential at that zone there somewhere, which is about 300 ADR away from where we are at the moment. But we've dropped a hell of a lot. So I think there's a very good argument for at least a 38 pullback on it, just to give the market room to breathe if it's going to continue with the US dollar strength. But equally, it's got to breathe at some point. So this could be it this week. So I think once we get FOMC out of the way on Tuesday now, not Wednesday, we'll have an indication, or the market will have an indication as to what the sort of medium short-term plans for the US interest rates are. And that's what it will probably react to. So as long as the Fed give us something on Wednesday, we'll get a confirmation as to whether that is going to continue or whether we're going to get that pullback started. But the US now is an absolute coin flip, more so than normal because Trump. So keep your eyes on Twitter, X, because that's what now moves the market, not fundamentals, not the Fed. It's either Elon or Trump opening their mouth on Twitter. So that's what it was when he was in last time, and that's probably what it will be this time. Although this time round he might be a little bit older, a little bit more sensible, might have grown up a bit. Unlikely. So yeah, for me at the moment, I'm only looking for shorts due to the cost of trading it, although it's so close on this one. It's only 560 swap long. So I was kind of considering just adjusting the EA to allow me to trade that. So I just changed the swap fee to 6 instead of 5, and I'll be in on that. But I've got enough US exposure on everything else at the moment, so I don't really need it. But it does look pretty good for longs at the moment. It's absolutely exhausted. So, we had an accumulation there, but there's every possibility if the market is just going to turn around and unravel the US that we'll be back up here within a couple of weeks, but hard to call. The other thing we've got to bear in mind is we're getting to the point where we're going to start that Santa rally now. Where we are at the minute, we've gapped up on the S&P. We've got gaps on the on the US indices as well today. Not on the Nasdaq. But yeah, we've got the potential for the Santa rally to start. Santa rally basically is where we get a run for 2, maybe 3 weeks in December. And the Santa rally generally causes weakness in the US because the US is being used to buy stocks. Therefore, the US supply drops and the stocks go up. So we'll see what happens with it. But if we do get the Santa rally and we get this all-time high broke, we're going to see some US weakness coming in. So, and that will tend to be, it'll run for a couple of weeks. This is previous Santa rallies I've got marked on the chart here. Look, we were talking about them, I think last week or the week before. So December, we don't always get them. Yeah. So we had in the last 4 years, December has been bullish 3 out of 4. Yeah. So, and it is, it is a thing, the Santa rally. It does happen. That's why it's got the name the Santa rally, because it happens in Christmas. So we'll see if we get one this year, but you can't tell. It's not something you can forecast. It either will or it won't. It's got a 50-50 shot. However, 75% of the last 4 years it's worked. But then if I extrapolate that over 10 years, you'll probably find it's more like 60% that we get Santa rallies. So, but when they happen, we tend to get US weakness. So we'll see what happens if we are going to get a rally into December. It'd be nice if we can push down and get down to an area where we can get some decent limit orders to springboard and move. And we could well be back up here. by January. But, you know, January the 20th, I think, is when he's sworn in. So up until then, he will say a lot, but he can't do anything. Yeah, so it's a case of waiting to see. So US at the moment, I think you can, you know, if you are probably like me and you've got trades against the US at the moment, in which case we're all hoping that we get a drop in that US dollar. New Zealand dollar at the minute, we've got to wait for news on Wednesday. So the rates are coming down to 4.25. Hopefully, I mean, that's the forecast. I don't think there's any reason why we won't get it. We don't often get shocks, but, you know, we do every now and again. We've had a couple from New Zealand. So you can see their policy has been restrictively high for a long time, as everybody's has. So they are now starting to drop that interest rate down fairly quickly. The fundamentals for the New Zealand dollar, their inflation is nicely down. So there's no reason why we shouldn't see them dropping interest rates, which will weaken that New Zealand dollar. Sorry, that way. But the market always factors in the movement before it happens. So quite often we get the opposite happening on the news just as the market pulls back and then starts to another leg in. But New Zealand should be fairly weak moving forward over the next few months. So I've got a long on at the moment, a couple of positions. So I'm just looking for a pullback on last week's leg. If we can get one. So market structure is nicely bearish. So as long as it's, you know, moving nicely, it doesn't matter which way you trade it. If it's going to move nicely, you get out on the longs, and then if it goes down, that's fine. You're out, aren't you? So, but I'm only trading it long. Swaps are too expensive. But again, it's another one of those. It's 590. It's very close to me going, actually, I don't mind trading this in either direction. But right now, I'm long only. So I'm long at the minute. I just, you know, an ADR gets me out of it if I want to. We've got 2 weekly lows coming up, which is there and there. So that one is kind of a break even for me. That one is my target. So my target, hard target, is up there. But if we get up to this weekly low, I'll be out. So there's no real support resistance after this level, though. If you see, we blew straight through that weekly level. We came through it. Yeah, it's not respecting this level at all. So I would be surprised if there's limit orders at that level. But, you know, it's basically, if you look at this leg here, whichever way you measure it, that's going to be roughly a 61.8, 71.9 retracement. So that's what I'm looking for, a deep pullback in market structure and continuation. So we'll see where that one goes, but I'm long at the moment. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, I've got long on at the moment as well, just one position. I've been in this for over a week now. That was the entry. I had an exit in propulsion and I was very close to taking it. And I think we had US news the next day. And I didn't take it off. Hindsight being a wonderful thing, it's an obvious weekly resistance bounce out of propulsion. But it wasn't enough money. So I was hoping we were just going to get a little spike the next day up into propulsion, but we didn't. Now this propulsion gap here, you can see it's pretty much filled. So this really is done. That there's no unfinished business there. So I don't think that's really in play. So just sitting waiting at the minute to see what it does. But right now I'm holding it long. And it's just not going anywhere. I had a second entry opportunity on Friday. It was below my second entry level, but I didn't get enough price action to the upside to trigger an entry. And of course it's gapped up this morning. So I've missed my second entry, which I would have taken this morning if we hadn't gapped. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to be stuck in this for another week or so. But I want it to, as long as it moves somewhere, I don't care. If it goes down, that's fine. I just need it to go somewhere. I can't make money if it's going sideways. So just waiting for some movement. US dollar CAD have one long at the moment. I'm long because there's a signal. I took it. Hasn't played out so far. It's not gone anywhere. In fact, the 3-bar reversal going in at the moment. But yeah, so that's the gap fill done. Look, to the pip, pretty much. Now we're off again. So it does look like there is weakness coming in that US dollar. So I'll be scaling in back down into this area here, into these lows, which is 200 ADR to 225 ADR. So my next entry is going in here, which is last week's low. So if we can get a bounce off of last week's low, I'll get out. But yeah, don't know, wait and see. It's not broken the low of the day yet, so we could just sit around all day and do that. But I'm one long at the moment. As I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea where it's going, but this move here was into the election. There's the election. I kind of think this move here before the election, we had a gap down. I think personally, this gap down, I thought this was Kamala Harris looking like she was going to win one of the big states. I think it was Ohio. But looking at it now in hindsight, I think this is the market just scaling out of that leg with the profit it needed before the election result. Now the election result has confirmed the direction they previously had. I'm not sure that it's ever going to get back down there. Well, it will do at some point, obviously. It can't go up forever. But I'm not sure it's going to want to get or need to get back down into this area. We've broken out these highs. That's the election. It broke us out of those highs. I think we're possibly going to hold this level. It could push down further. You know, we could get down into 150 ADR or something. But I think this election point for me is kind of a reset switch. And if we get beyond that election point, it kind of invalidates the market thinking Trump is good. And I just think it's going to stay either kind of neutral or slightly bullish. But it's all down to fundamentals at the end of the day. If the FOMC on Tuesday, the Fed come out and say, everything's going swimmingly, I'm staying in my job, and interest rates, we are going to drop by 0.5% over the next quarter, it will come down. So it's going to be down to what the FOMC statement is on Tuesday. So, but that's 225 ADR. That is the low before the elections. That's kind of my little line in the sand now, where I don't think we'll invalidate that. But where it goes from here, I have no idea. So I'm long at the moment. But obviously I know a lot of people are still short that didn't get out where I got out on that Kamala. Well, I call it the Kamala Harris. The only reason I call it the Kamala Harris move or gap is because it gapped coincidentally down when it announced that she was doing really well. So it looked like, because obviously Kamala is bad for the currency, Trump is good for the currency. So it looked like the market was going, oh, she's going to get in. And obviously that isn't what happened. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Plan is, and again, we'll cover a lot more of this in detail tomorrow in the members stream, but plan is scaling into that low. Next support area. That's it. Gold all over the place. Wow, 150 ADR on gold today, look. Nice bounce. 5-minute reversal of that. So that's it. That's all the pairs covered. Let's see where we are with the indices. They are selling the highs on the FTSE. What weird price action today. Just weird price action. You can't read anything into that, can you? It's a mess. So that was the high from the 5-minute opening range. We haven't broken that. We pulled back, looking like we were going to put a structure long in. Double topped, put a lower low in, double topped, put a higher low in, double topped. It's just an absolute mess. Literally, that is what it's doing. It's an absolute mess. If there was an indicator that indicated mess, I've just drawn it. Load of rubbish. Can't do anything about that today. Flip a coin. Franco, world credit card debt is very high. Yeah, It's very high in the UK, going higher, and our prices are all going up for fuel again. So I imagine that's going to continue to get higher. I'm not expecting blockbuster sales this season. No. I mean, I'm feeling the pinch this year. Everybody's feeling the pinch this year. It's just hard. Everything is getting more expensive. Banks with 500 billion in underperforming assets. Not looking good for a new year. Yeah. If the banks go down, they get bailed out. So student loans will be kicking back in January, repayments. Yeah. Well, no one ever has any money in January, do they? If you had money in January, you didn't have Christmas. I hate January. I hate this year. The end of the year for me is always bad because I have multiple birthdays, Christmas, and a tax bill falling between November and January. So it's my quarter of doom, basically, because I have to pay my tax bill in January. So I basically have birthdays, lots of money, birthdays, lots of money, Christmas, lots of money, tax bill, lots of money. So I get through to February, I'm like, whew, it's horrible. But that's just me personally. Everything's just full. Everybody must have that. You have these certain times of year which are expensive, and it's usually like there's birthdays and anniversaries, but they all seem to be compacted into a quarter where it all happens at once. Don't know. That's just for me. Anyway, FTSE's coming back down again. So if we can hold this low, we're still bullish. So at the moment, that's a good buy because all we're doing is this. DAX can't get out of the rejection of the highs. It's not going, just no movement today. There's no news today, so nothing's going on, is it? It's just one of those days where we're going to find it tricky, I think, today. For those of you that were in the live room, not the live rooms, the members stream, we were talking about that new EA that I'm building, which is my kind of intraday super expert that does everything, replicates me, artificial intelligence, not type stuff. I've started getting the rest of the coding done on that on Friday. So at the moment it's got the basics in there. So it's marking out highs and lows for bounce point plays, etc. Trades the open at the moment. So it's underway, but there's a hell of a lot of logic to go. So quite a complex one, this one. But I think it's going to be a good little EA. Hoping, anyway. What am I trading in? NASDAQ. Don't seem to be able to get any ranges to trade at the moment. I've obviously picked a time period when it was extremely volatile. There we go. There's one. Yeah, it's making money. So this is specifically designed for prop. Anyway, so that's underway. Anyway, I'm working on that. But I'll cover that more when I've got it more doing what I want it to do. So tomorrow's member stream, we'll be using the position trader EA, and the whole session is going to be that one there. So position trading using market structure without indicators. So basically, the whole idea of tomorrow's session, which we'll do at 8 o'clock tomorrow, is to forget RSI, forget ADR, forget support resistance propulsion. No, don't forget support resistance, but forget anything that is an indicator, really. And the whole purpose of it is practicing getting in and out into position trades at areas of interest. Yeah. So looking for areas and marking out areas on the chart that we are expecting the market to have reactions at. Yeah. That reacted there because of that and that. Yeah. So it's about identifying these areas and trading those. So We're not using elastic band theory. We're not using the theory of the market being stretched and mean reversion. We're literally getting in because the market has a high probability of doing X. If X doesn't happen, we need to plan Y. Yeah. So it's just about going back to kind of the basics of the boot camp, really, because somebody said, can I do the boot camp again in a live environment? So I can kind of do the entire boot camp in a session, because it's not actually that complex, although it is a 12-hour course, if you like, which is all on the site, which you can go and do anytime you like. It's all up there if you want to do the position trading bootcamp. But you know, although this is kind of like 12 hours of content, the actual theory of position trading is very simple. We just remove the thing that makes us lose money. Yeah, it's not hard, is it? But it's about trying to find ways to trade, and there's not one way to get in. I use RSI and ADR because I know they increase the probabilities of entering in the direction that I want the market to go. But the market will do what the hell it likes after that. So you could flip a coin, or you could, as some people are, use a totally different strategy and just press the button. Yeah, and that's what tomorrow's about, is pressing the button using support resistance zones. So, and again, I can set up an account, a separate account. I can allocate some money to do this, and I can run an account in the live rooms and trade this way, because at the end of the day, it's got exactly the same probabilities as using on RSI, 50-50, isn't it? So, but we'll cover that tomorrow. So probably be about an hour and a half odd session tomorrow. Do I have to use different magic numbers with a position trader EA? No. The only reason you need to use separate magic numbers with a position trader EA, as it says there, is unless well, I'll read it, see if it makes sense. I'm not sure it does. Magic number, leave as default unless multi-pair on one terminal. So if you are trading the same instrument twice on one terminal, then you need a unique magic number. So the way the position trader EA works is it first of all says, have I got any trades on this? If not, this is now what I'm trading. If I have, what's the magic number for them? Yeah, so you shouldn't be trading on the same account with the same instrument twice. Yeah, but if you are, for any reason, so if you've got the same account and you're running the ADR reversal strategy and the RSI reversal strategy separately, you would need unique magic numbers for them. But there's no reason to do that. Yeah, when you're position trading, the whole position trading is position trading. The entry mechanism is irrelevant. The fact that is you are in a position. So at the moment, these are my positions. Yeah. If I take another short on the Euro New Zealand, it's pointless because I am short on the Euro New Zealand. If the Euro New Zealand gives another signal on another strategy to go short today, there's absolutely no point in taking it because I'm already short. That's my position. Yeah, this is my position. It's your direction. So there's no reason to trade twice on the same account in the same direction. So therefore, there's no need for it. But that's the only reason you would need a unique magic. So I'm trying to steer away from magic numbers as much as possible because with the market reverse alerts EA, it caused so many problems. People just didn't get it. And unfortunately, it's the way that MT4 and MT5 work. They use magic numbers. All EAs use magic numbers. Whether they show you the box for magic numbers or not, they all use them. It is a requirement for you to use them. They appear in your P&L as a number. But the reason I'm trying to steer away from them is because they got so confusing before. Because you needed a unique magic number for long and a separate one for short so that it could separate the longs and the shorts out and manage them separately as separate buckets of trades. And then you needed a unique one of each of those on every instrument that you traded. So I've simplified the whole way that the logic works to be working on the instrument name rather than the magic number. But it has to have a magic number. And if you are going to trade two lots of gold, again, absolutely no reason why you would. But the only reason why you would is if you, let's say, for example, you're using some gold EA and you're using the position trader EA and the gold EA uses stop losses, that will have to have a unique magic number. Yeah, because your gold EA will use a magic number. It may not tell you it does, but it does. You can tell that by hovering over the trade. So if you go into your trade and hover over any trade, yeah, it says placed by expert ID 999. So any other EA you have running will have an expert ID. And if you hover over the trade, it will tell you the EA's expert ID number, the magic number. But if you're just using Position Trader EA on your account, which you should be, there's no need. And the way I've separated long and short orders out separately is different in this EA. Just easier. Took Cardi B trading course. Cardi B? Isn't that a singer? I don't trade, I make money moves. Okay. That's a terrible joke, Franco. Cardi B. Cardi B's trading course. I don't even know if Cardi B's a man or a woman, is it? I don't. It's far too young for me. Anyway, they could bring out a trading course. They're probably a they anyway. Everybody's a they these days, aren't they? Nobody's a man or a woman anymore. My generation's struggling. Right. Have you got one or not? You're definitely a man. That's it. I'll leave it there on that note. So everything else is kind of flip-flopping around at the moment, just waiting for stuff to happen. Aussie, US, there's low. I mean, I've got nothing in drawdown really at the moment. Even pound CAD isn't really in drawdown much. So I'm just waiting for stuff to move at the minute this week. Hopefully we get some unraveling of last week's price action and I can get some more on the table. But it's been a tough week the last week. Didn't manage to bank much at all. Anyway, so indices today. DAX hedges I'm going to leave at 5R. FTSE I'm still long only. So ideal for me today, as I said, if we get to 3R, that's worth 700. I'm going to shut that, pay for the DAX and be done. And then obviously trade this afternoon session. If I do get hedged, downside target on the FTSE is impossible. That's 5R, which is 125% of average daily range. So I'm not going to move it from 5R. Upside target on the FTSE. Have we got any resistance? Miles away. So yeah, upside target on the FTSE, if it hedged, will be 5R there. I much prefer this level, which is, funnily enough, exactly what we've tapped into at the open. Look. So yeah, I'd probably try and take one at the double top today if it got hedged. But ideally, what I'd like to see is the FTSE just get to 3R, because that then pays for the DAX, and then I can just shut everything out and be I'll be up 400. But we'll see. At the moment, it's not going anywhere. We are putting in a higher low. But we can't get through that high. Stuck. So this is that resistance that I just shown you on the hourly chart. And we're just selling it constantly over and over again. That is worth 200. So I could, if we get back to that high again, I could close it out and just take $100 loss on the day, £100 loss on the day. But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. We've got a rising wedge, ever so slight rising wedge forming, which is bullish. So see if it goes. See if it goes. Right, that's all I've got for you today. If you need anything else, I'll be in Discord. As I say, tomorrow morning is members stream, so I'll be on at 8 o'clock. And we're going to do some position trading and go through position trading methodology for market structure. Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday will be normal session. Thursday is the 8 a.m. session. That's Thanksgiving. So Thursday will be a member stream as normal. because Thursday's Thanksgiving, and then Friday we're on at 8 o'clock as normal as well. So yeah, everything's as normal this week. I haven't decided what we're going to do on Thursday. Depends how far I get with the EA development and what we cover tomorrow, because tomorrow we might have some more stuff that we want to cover to do with position trading, because people want to see more position trading stuff in the member streams, it seems. So I will do more position trading stuff. We've been doing lots of strategy development, and as I'm proving, most of the strategy development is meh, because most strategies are meh. So kind of proving what I've been saying all along, that anything that uses a stop loss is bloody hard to make money with. So we could well just move much more into position trading. So what we might do in the strategy development is look at adding different entry mechanisms into the position trader EA, and coming up with a load more position trading strategies. See if we can get some better entries on position trading. That might be something that's good to focus on in the member streams. So we'll chat about it tomorrow with the members and see what we do. Right, okay, so I'll leave it there today. Anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, be aware, obviously no news today. Very little news tomorrow, and it's all about Wednesday. So I say very little news until tomorrow evening. So yeah, but that's your first major news event of the week is tomorrow. So be prepared today and tomorrow for maybe rotation while we're waiting to see what the Fed says. All right, have a good day. Anything you need, I'll be in Discord. Other than that, I will see you next stream. Have a good one.